Are you ready for combat night?
All right, guys, welcome back. Thanks for joining us for another conversation with the Combat Night crew. Today's guest is fresh off a main event victory at Combat Night Pro St. Pete this past weekend. He got his hands raised in a high stakes fight, stayed composed under pressure, and walked away with the dub. But not everyone saw the fight the same way. The commentary team described parts of his performance in a way that was seen poorly by his fans. But that's why we're bringing him on here today to give him the mic so he can break down the fight from the inside, the strategy, the patience, the discipline. It all had a purpose. So let's get into it with our guest, Morquez Black Clover Forrest.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Certainly, man. Glad to have you. So, you're new to the Combatagon and the Combat Night fan. So just tell us a little bit about yourself, before we dive right into it.
Yeah, man. I'm a very high entertainer when it comes to fighting. I like to describe myself pretty much as an entertainer before a fighter. And man, I love to go to war. That's why I wanted to, come here and talk about this previous fight. There were some things that happened within the fight that compromised me a little bit, so I wasn't able to be myself in after the first round. So, but yeah, man, I'm a warrior, man. The guys that follow me, they know who I am. They know I'm always willing to bring it. This was my fourth straight main event headliner, so they know how I'm rocking, and I gained new fans thanks to you guys. And like I said before, in terms of hospitality, in terms of the way Combat Night treat their fighters, it's the best that I've ever been around. I'm 8 fights and in terms of the promotion itself, putting fighters first, nobody's done it like you guys. I can honestly say that.
Hey, we appreciate that. And, you came in like a true professional in every aspect. And that's the type of guys that we like to deal with. So we certainly appreciate that. So I'm just going to give a quick rundown of, your career thus far. Undefeated as an amateur. And this was your 8th fight, picked up the win. So you're 7-1. Your last few fights you've taken against guys with a lot of experience, 20 plus fights, each of these guys in your last few fights. So, as far as last weekend, going into the fight, what was your game plan for you and your team that you and your team put together?
So the game plan was I was prepared for a 3-round bloody war. As I said, I knew Paulo was going to be durable. I knew he was going to be tough, but I also thought that I could finish him as well. But I knew he was going to be he's a warrior, man. He's a warrior. But in the first round, after the second kick, I could barely feel my left arm. So anytime I threw my left arm, every time it landed, I'm in pain every single time. So the pace from the first and the second round was still pretty high. I still did a pretty decent output, but it wasn't as much as I wanted to. And my coaches kept yelling at me to throw what we call a brick. It's one of the combinations, but I couldn't throw it because I was just in pain. I was just compromised from the kicks. And this guy's so crazy. I thought that if I put my elbow out, it'd stop him from kicking it. No, he didn't do that. He kept kicking. And if you looked at his leg, his whole shin was bruised.
Yeah, he had a big golf ball size knot on his shin.
And he still was kicking. I thought that would slow him down. And then as the fight continued, it just got harder and harder to throw my left hand. And then I just wanted to play it safe in the third round.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what we observed, and I've gone back and watched it again. It was pretty high output from you in the first, slowed down a little bit in the second, and then about halfway through the second, he started dancing.
Yeah,
so,
and when he started doing that, that's how I knew he knew I think he knew he was going to have to do something crazy to bring me in. We knew that his grappling, he's a black belt, man. He's a very high level black belt. So we knew he wanted to get it to the ground. Even his like when he was showing off and he started pulling his leg sleeve up, I knew he wanted me to try to kick so he can try to take me down. That's what he wanted. He wanted to take me down. And I just didn't want to get into that wrestling exchanges without, having a left arm that was going to be fully able to move the right way. I wanted to start catching the kick, but I just didn't want to put myself in a position where, oh, now my arm is completely out. So I just had to thug it out and just keep fighting.
Was there anything that your corner told you between rounds? Like a read that they got off of anything, or were you just like pretty much thinking to like, we're going to try and stand up. I'm not going to be goaded into, those clinches and in the stand up.
Yeah, so my coaches, they told me to keep the pressure on them, but they didn't know. I didn't tell them until like after the fight, and my coach Ross kind of got upset with me because he's like, "Dude, you're supposed to tell me this during the fight, so we could have changed it. We could have adjusted a little bit." But I've been compromised before in the fight, and that's one of the fights that I lost. So I just let off the gas a little bit. But they just kept telling me to keep the pressure on them, to throw, like I said, what I call a brick, and let's try to knock him out. But I will say, even if my arm wasn't compromised, I still can't sit here and say I would have finished Paulo. I had him hurt. A few times. I had him wobbling, but I can't say that I still would have finished him. But that was the game plan, to go out there and try to knock this guy out.
So what goes through your mind when you see someone, trying to turn the fight into a spectacle in that way?
Oh man, I'm experienced now. It doesn't work on me now at all. I wanted to catch him with a nice 1-2, but man, my body and my mind just wasn't on the same page. I felt like I was overthinking the fact that, man, if I throw this left a certain way, I might break my arm. Or if he moves out the way and he lands it the right way, because I felt like if I didn't get my elbow out more, I just felt like it would have been more damage. So the antics doesn't work on me anymore. Back in the day, it would have. Like when he was trying to hug and stuff like that, I would have fell for that. I would have went in. I'm a nice guy, but I would have fell for it.
Yeah, I like that. There was a glove touch, and then maybe it was the subsequent round he wanted to go in for a little hug, and you're just like, no.
Yeah,
let's just finish this. We'll hug after.
Right, exactly.
I think you did a fantastic job of keeping your composure through those times, because he's a super experienced guy, 30 fights, and he was really trying to reel you in with all that extra stuff. So, props to you for keeping your composure and maintaining.
Right, appreciate it.
So, with regards to some of the comments that I even see some of your fans in the
oh, they already on there?
Yeah, they're in there. What specifically did you not appreciate about some of our comments?
So it's, I will say that I've rewatched the fight, so I kind of understand where you guys are coming from, because you guys didn't know I was compromised at all. Like, you guys didn't know. All you saw was a pace slow down, but you didn't know that my arm was injured. So what I will say, one of the things that got me was Ben saying, I would argue that Paulo won that round. Ben, he didn't win any round at all. It was
which round did he say that in? The
third round. The third round. He was saying that he was more active, that he was more active in that round. More active with dancing, but not active with striking or fighting at all. He was just trying to reel me in. So
I think that was the round where the strike count was probably the closest.
Mm-hmm.
I think you outstruck him in every round, but in the third round, it was probably the closest in terms of landed, not even thrown. Maybe it was a few, 2 or 3 off.
Yeah. I would agree to that. But like I said, like to say he would argue that he won that round, I was just like, like I said, I'll rewatch the fight too. I still wouldn't really go with that. And then everything else is like, that's. You saw the fight from a different view than how I saw it, right?
Sure.
But then I also was a little confused with Black Santa with the mic, because the only reason I wanted the mic, which is why we're here, is for me to tell why the pace slowed down, which was why my arm being compromised. And he was, he told me if I would have finished the fight, I would have got the mic. Which to me, I'm like, bro, Paulo's good, man. Why are we disrespecting this guy? Like, this guy isn't someone that you can just go out there and put away. He's very, very durable. You know, the fight got moved up to 170, which was supposed to be at 155. You know, I found that out like less than a week and a half before, because I was already cutting the weight. But fighting Paulo at his natural weight, 170, he was tough, you know. So when he said that, I was like, dude, like, I can't promise that I was going to finish the guy, you know. But the only reason I wanted the mic in as the main event, I would think that I would have got some type of say, which would have led to more of a conversation with the post show that you guys did, you know, because the post show was, you know, the fight wasn't as entertaining, which I can say that wasn't my best performance, but it was still a decent performance for the circumstances that I was put in.
No, that's totally fair. And you know, I think with regards to interviews and stuff like that, sometimes it's the pacing of the show and like when we need to wrap up. And so it might have already been told to him by, you know, showrunner or something like, hey, if there's not a finish, no interviews. And he was just sticking to the timeline.
Got you. And I also think I will say this too, for the whole not being entertaining. I think that you guys were spoiled by David and Christian's performance. I'm not going to lie. I mean, those performances was that good that then it's like, dang, like now we got the main event, and it's not like that, you know. So
yeah, no, yeah, we had some fantastic fights on before yours, and we certainly, and you know, you're at the end of the night because you're the high level guys, and this is, you know, it was a high stakes fight, you know, for you. Every single one of these fights and wins matter big time for you. The big show is going to start looking at you, and so there certainly is more strategy and those types of things that you have to take into consideration as you're looking to make the next step. So certainly, looks like I got Ben has jumped on, so I'm gonna throw him in the mix here with us. And I'm also wanted to comment: is it frustrating when fans or commentators don't recognize high level composure or patience? And you know, we, like you said, we see it from where we see it from. We don't know exactly what's going on with your body. We're just reading, reading the action. And I wanted to give you the credit for the composure. And is it frustrating whenever you go back and listen and you're like, obviously it is.
It is a little bit, because I like to go back. First, I had to go rewatch the fight without the commentary, because when I got out of the fight, I had like a lot of people like, oh, congratulations, and then there was the other side that was like, dude, why are these commentators talking junk about, you know what I mean? Like, it was that side as well. So I like to I rewatch the fight, and then I listen to it, and that's why, you know, I didn't have a problem with anything like per se to that, outside of the Paulo won that round, and then obviously like not mentioning how durable Paulo is, or that Paulo is a jiu-jitsu practitioner. Man, I was hearing about this guy from people from Brazil, and I haven't trained in Brazil in like 3 years, and I had people was messaging me, oh, you got to watch out for his grappling, oh, you got to watch out for that. As soon as they found out who I was fighting, then obviously he's pretty well known over here, so I just was being like, I was being smart about it, and I do think the fight would have went different if my arm wasn't compromised, but I still, like I said, I still can't say I would have finished the guy. He's very durable.
All right, well, let me pull Ben in. Okay. And hey, what's
going on, everybody?
What's going on, Ben? What's up, man?
How are you guys doing?
Something I want to say about our commentary team is I'm the only one that's not a pro fighter or former pro fighter. So some of the assessments that are coming in he's a colleague essentially of yours. So Ben, he had a problem with you saying Paulo could have been seen to have won the third round.
Did you go back and rewatch it? No, I gotta ask you.
Yeah, I rewatched it a little earlier today.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, in that third round, it was not the most active round.
I agree.
And you know, he was goading you on. He was trying to make stuff happen. So I kind of gave him a bit of the benefit of the doubt. He was a little bit more. I can't even say aggressive, but it looked like he was trying to like bait and go. where I saw you reading and reading way more and having a harder time deciding when was the time to pull the trigger. But when you did, you were way more effective.
See, that's why we need to do this. Now I see your point of view. Now I see your point of view. I see where you're coming from with that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. We can only call it like we see it. And in the moment, it is hot and heavy. You know, it's action, it's fast. There's people around you. They're screaming, you know, and that does pick the momentum up, you know, at least for me, you know. And then on the second thought, at least in my mind, is we still kind of be entertaining. We got to keep it moving.
Right.
Get people involved. So crack a joke here, post something in there. You know, maybe just make a statement so that
not
Miles
today.
can argue with me. You know?
Yeah.
So I know there was one thing that I said that I actually didn't get to get my thought totally out, but I caught some strays in the comments of our post fight. Is whenever I said something about him being reminiscent of Anderson Silva, and what the full thought was prior to him getting knocked out, not when he was dancing against Chris Weidman before he got knocked out.
Oh, you caught strays for that? Oh man. Oh yeah.
But I didn't get the full thought out. All they heard was, "You look like Anderson Silva."
What? No, yeah, right. I got you.
Yo, how do your elbows feel? Because he was going shin to elbow. Over.
Me and Ramsey was just talking about that, man, not too long ago. I'm waiting to get my X-rays back. He pretty much destroyed my arm in the first round, man. He kept kicking it, so I couldn't throw my left arm the way I wanted to. And when I did throw it and it landed, I was in pain, man. I had to fight through it. But I'm just waiting to get the X-rays back. And it's funny you say that because I started leaning my elbow out for him to kick the elbow. And this SOB kept kicking it. Like, he kept kicking it. Like, he didn't feel it. And like I said, when you look at his shin at the end of the fight, man, it's all red. It's bruised.
Yeah, man.
Crazy, dude.
Dude, he was surprisingly tough. Like, I've kicked many shins in my life. I've never had a shin that looked like that. And I've had times where I'm like, I'm done. I'll see you in 2 weeks.
He kept bringing it on, too. Like,
yeah,
I feel like it was like, I don't know, man. It's like, I didn't know if that was part of his game plan, though. Like, all right. Because I never showed any type of, like, I played poker face, so I never showed him that I was in pain. And he still just kept kicking it.
You pick a target and go for it, I guess. Now, when you watched back the second round and you saw in that last second how bad you clipped him and how screwed he was, did you not think about coming out in the third with just like a flying drop kick? And just getting right to him. So
I saw that it was like he was wobbled, but the mindset when I went in, I wanted to see like what his reaction was going to be, because now we're in the third round, and I knew at this point he's still dangerous, but I wanted to see if he was still like going to be like. I needed to know that I can land something if I was going to throw, and I just never got comfortable. Like the mind and body wasn't on the same page, man, because I really wanted to land my left. Like, I really wanted to land it, but I just wasn't in the right mindset no more after that.
Yeah, he has a very, like, awkward presence, like how he stands and presents himself as a target, you know. And then with the low hands, you know, you're taught, like, instinctually, like, that's a bait. He wants a counter. If I give him what he wants, he's going to try and pop me. But even then, when he did land on you, unfazed.
I think.
Did he pack a lot of punch?
Not to me. I think what it was is I don't even think he was trying to bait me in for like a counter. I think he was trying to bait me in just to take me down. I think once he realized that I was much faster, I don't think he wanted to really try to stand. Like, he wanted me to overcommit so he can take me down.
Yeah. And every time he got inside, pummeled the underhook, and used it to his advantage, you were out the door in like 3 to 5 seconds. He never got a good position on you. I think the only takedown of the fight, you scored on him.
Yeah, that's when that was the one when I got on top of him for a little bit.
Ramsey's so serious. Look at him.
I'm reading comments, and I'm trying to make sure I get all the questions in.
Are we in trouble still?
I don't know. They,
You guys was never. I don't think you guys was ever in trouble. I just think that we just needed to clear the air because I didn't get to talk about why the pace slowed down so much after the first and the second round.
So what was going through your head in the third? I know you said he could still be dangerous, but as the round went on, like did you not? Well, I guess it makes sense. You were doing a way more kicking in the third. So were you at that point like still trying to like land some hot shit, or were you like my arm's messed up? We're
Yeah,
just gonna have to deal with this.
So what it was like I said, I wanted to see how he was going to come out before I tried to make a decision on. All right, I need to try to go for a kill. The thing is I've been in this position before when I was winning and dominating the fight, and I overcommitted and I didn't I didn't play the game smart. So that fight I ended up losing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was put in the same position against another veteran. So this vet, I knew he had nothing to lose. So I wanted to see if I didn't have anything where I knew it was going to be concrete, where I can like knock this guy out. I didn't want to overcommit and put myself in a position where he was going to take me down and then try to submit me because I didn't fear anything about him knocking me out or anything like that. The only thing that was going through my mind is, man, this guy might break my arm because I'm gonna keep coming. I'm not gonna not fight back. But I just thought he was gonna just completely take out my arm.
Yeah. That being the case, you still threw a lot of punches. Like he threw a lot more kicks. You threw not a lot more. You threw a lot more punches, and that's wild to see, even with your arm being compromised.
Yeah. Well, now I'm grateful for the experience because now when I get back in the gym, I can practice fighting with my left hand because I felt so uncomfortable trying to go and throw a jab with the left hand. I just didn't have no sting on it, and it was just pain every time I threw it.
Yeah, the chat's talking about the. I don't recall us calling those kicks illegal, the oblique kicks. We just made it. Ben and I during the fight, we're just talking about how it's not one of our favorite strikes.
Yeah. So the oblique kick is completely legal. The targeting of a knee directly is illegal.
Illegal.
The oblique kick is 3 inches higher. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a bit of but it is legal.
Some people like it, some people don't.
I just would take it so personally having it done to me. Like, yes, we're fighting, and yes, I want to kick you in the face, but you want to stomp my knee backwards and fuck me up for the next year? Like, come on.
So I hear you on that, right? I hear you on that, but if we're in a cage, and this is what I think happens when you're in a cage and you sign a contract, we all know what we're signing up for, right? So you got to use your whole arsenal, and I feel like because of the type of person I am, when I'm doing these kicks and stuff, after the fight, everything's forgotten. That's just what I feel like. I did it in the fight, and now the fight's over. Even with Paulo, man, Paulo was so cool after the fight. And again, that's in my move sets,
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess the thing that changes the whole story is finding out that you took some damage during the fight that made you had to kind of make an adjustment mid-fight. So, have you ever experienced something like that before in a fight? Where
not with my arm. No, not with no. I could. The only thing, like I said, was when I had a fight and my eye was kind of closed. That's the closest thing that I've ever been to being compromised. But you see it happen all the time. You see guys with leg injuries go out there and then now they're hopping, they're trying to move. Even matter of fact, his last fight was against Brandon Lopez, right? And he was taking out Brandon's leg to where Brandon had to keep switching his leg. And every time he kicked that calf, it's the same thing. So the guy is really good at targeting one specific area and then just keep aiming at it and trying to take it out. That's why I think it probably was part of the game.
So always a learning experience.
Oh yeah, and that's why I love it.
So I guess, some of the taunting he was doing was a frustration even on his part of not being able to get you to come in, and it kind of sways the crowd. It taints our perspective of what's going on in there, and it also gets the crowd thinking like, oh, he's not attacking him, he's not moving forward,
Yeah.
despite you like outstriking him.
Right, definitely.
Yeah, it steals some of the shine, like to see, like I was curious in the moment, the man stood still, rolled up his pants, tucked them into his drawers,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, is it one of those things like where you're like, is this guy really doing this in front of me? And that's why I don't do anything? Or you're like, is he messing with me? Like, is this a bait? Because it's so awkward and so abnormal. Like, how do you even interpret that?
Yeah, 100% tried. 100% tried to bait me into taking me down. 100%. That's what. But that's just what he wanted to do. But again, I talked to him like after the fight. His English isn't. He doesn't really speak English, right? But again, super cool dude. And one of the things I took from him was that I hit hard and that I played smart. I took that from him, and like I said, he's a super cool dude, man.
Well, that's good praise from a guy with as much experience as him, and like I say, a super tough guy. So, what you got on the horizon?
Man, when I get these X-rays back, that's what I know. My primary taking forever to get it to me, but I know that you guys have a card in August. I know you have the 9th and the 16th. So, God willing, these X-rays come back negative, and man, I want to get back to training, and I'll try to get on one of the cards.
Now, keeping that in mind, is there anyone that you would like to face? You're trying to make that big jump to the next level. You just got a great win over a seasoned vet. Like, is there someone you have in mind that you would like to put the stamp on to kind of rocket launch you up?
Oh yeah, you kind of put me on the spot there. I do know that there was, but I know that I sent them. I think it was Richard. It was Richard and Mitch. I sent them a few of the people I was willing to fight. One of them, I'm pretty sure his name was Paris or something like that. But I think they said they didn't have his contact. But I have to just go back to that list and see, because I know I sent them a list of guys that they're high level and I'll be willing to fight. But I'm knowing them, they probably got a list of guys too that they can match me up. It's just about who says yes to the matchup at this point. But I am going back. I'm going back to 55 though. We're done with the 170. I gotta stay at my weight class.
How can you possibly make 155?
Man,
guys as jacked as us are never gonna make that. What are you talking about?
I have the right nutrition, man. That's all it is. Like, I just have the right.
Yeah, nutrition. But you got so much you and no body fat.
We make it work, man. I got Venom Nutrition. That's all I can say. Like, he helps me a lot, man. He's one of my sponsors, and he helps me a lot. And then I just, I'm just dedicated to this. So never miss weight at 155. Never miss weight at 170. But I will say, I just feel better knowing that I have to work harder to make that weight, And I think my performances are a lot better as well. So I'm going back to 55.
Awesome. That really broadens the horizons. Our 55 division is very, very deep.
All right. So thanks for joining us, Ben. I know you're over there coaching, so I'll cut you loose and let you do your thing.
Thank you, Ben. Appreciate
it. My pleasure, man. Pleasure talking to you.
You as well.
Yeah,
bye,
good to talk to you, man. Later, man. All right, so we talked also a little bit about you didn't get a post-fight interview, so if there's anybody that you want to shout out or thank or anything, please take an opportunity to do so.
All right, shout out to all my sponsors. Shout out to all the guys that helped me during this last camp as well. All of Venom Nutrition, Oliver's Farm, K4 Studios, Mayhem Wrestling, Champions MMA. Man, the list goes on. You guys know I love you. And also, man, I have so much support I have a lot of guys that help me with training. So you guys know who you are. I don't have to really say your name. So I appreciate you guys, and we're back in camp soon.
All right. Hey, well, I'll also give a shout out to your fans. They got your back. You can tell you got some
Hey,
some
thank you,
great fans
fellas,
and followers.
you ladies. Thank you. I appreciate you all, man. They just they just love me, man. That's all it is.
No, for sure. I wanted to give you this opportunity and show you, like, hey, we say what we say, but we're accountable too. So we certainly are willing to converse about it, after the fact. So
Definitely appreciate that, man. Like I said, very best promotion I've dealt with ever, bro. Like I really appreciate you guys. Seriously.
well, it was great talking to you. Glad to have you. I'll let you get on with your weekend.
All righty. Thank you so much. God bless, man. Thank you.
All right, man.
All right.
So thanks everybody for joining us, and hope you got to know a little bit more. Hope we got to clear the air with how we called the fight for the Black Clover. He's a consummate professional. We were glad to have him, and we will be back with another Combat Night Crew chat on Sunday. We got one of our main guys, one of our big supporters in the MMA community, Retro Grappler, coming on with us on Sunday. We look forward to that. But thanks again, everybody, for joining it. Shout out to Black Clover's fans. Y'all repped him properly, and you keep it straight. Appreciate you. We'll see you next time.
Are you ready for combat night?